The world is really turning on us, and I don't like it. The United Nations scandal with our allies was on the front page of the Times today. Oh, no, it wasn't in the Times at all. Actually, in the whole paper. That's unusual in an objective newspaper. Then our one ally, England, the one country that liked us, won't send us the flu vaccine. You hear about this? Those bastards are trying to weaken our morale by making us vomit all winter. You know, they tried it 10 years ago with the Spice Girls. It didn't work then, you rotten toots. Now listen to me. Don't worry about it, folks. That's child's play for me. I probably could write 50 of those for you people if you really want. Now listen to me. The most disturbing story on so many levels, I told you, it was that last night an ex-place kicker for the Oakland Raiders named Cole Murdoch Ford pulled a drive-by on Siegfried and Roy. I repeat, an ex-NFL player pulled a drive-by in Siegfried and Roy's house, you know? So I started thinking like a detective. I said, wait a minute, was it a gay thing, you know? Or was it the fact that the Oakland Raiders, most of them have pulled drive-bys. Once in a while, it was just a coincidence that he lit up. You know, they've hit enough houses where one's going to be a celebrity. Or was it a patriotic thing? Because Germany has been very uncooperative lately, and they unleashed those two Huns 40 years ago to corrupt our sexually ambivalent youth and to hypnotize Ma and Pa front porch into paying $80 to watch them prance around uncircumcised in bodysuits and bark out orders in German at the great North American tiger. But on the humanistic tip, what a tough year for Roy, you know? Roy himself, forget about Siegfried, he's living good compared to Roy. How many people could say they were the victim of a drive-by shooting while recovering from a tiger bite? He probably thought it was the tiger's friends coming back to get him because they put the other one to sleep. It's probably like, Siegfried, the tigers are shooting at the house. Kicker. They said that kicker choked in a few games and they booted him off the team. He was a choke artist and that's what happened. And he freaked out and, you know, Siegfried and Roy paid the price, as they probably should for unknown, you know, heinous acts.
It wasn't George Blanda, right?
That's funny if you're my age.
Right.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. was fined $10,000 and knocked out of first place. A junior got knocked out by NASCAR for swearing during a TV interview last Sunday. Here it is.
Well, I don't mean right now. Daddy's done won here 10 times, so.
What he said was, I don't mean S right now. Dad won it 10 times. Now, isn't it funny that it's actually a sport where you get booted out of first place for swearing?
Especially when you couldn't understand a word he said anyway.
Well, they could.
Oh, man. That was pretty offensive.
And he wasn't saying...
But the fans understood every word of it.
No, that's what I want. I want a kid. That's how I want my son. A kid walking around the house saying, that ain't
My dad.
you know what I mean? Like,
my daddy did 500 sets, guest sets, right?
Yeah, that ain't
What did he say?
MC jacket, cowboy boots with his nuts hanging out saying, that ain't
Right.
You say, at 1 year old.
He's getting bleeped every time. Even I said S. You know how fruity I felt saying, that ain't S just now? Hey, man, Rick, I'm the pace car in this bit. You know what I'm saying?
He wasn't saying anything that his father didn't say as he was crashing in the third wall at Daytona.
Oh!
Come on. And really, when you think about it, what are NASCAR points? What do you get points for? Like, you know, if you flip over and land on your four wheels, there's 10 points. If you throw a tire into the audience, oh, there's another 50 points.
They said they don't want the young kids to hear this stuff, but they don't mind them watching cars going around the track that said Budweiser on the side. What's that encouraging right there? Viagra cars, I mean, come on.
I know.
But the Viagra makes sense in the NASCAR because it is hard to sustain an erection if your wife weighs 400 pounds and has one tooth. It's a good target audience.
And she's your sister.
Yeah, and you've got about 40 beers in you.
That's all relative, depending on what your perception is.
It's not real because the guy who's telling him not to curse and he's fining him, if he was in the car with Dale Earnhardt, he'd be saying that word all the time.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to get on.
How did you get Frank Zappa on the show?
Frank Zappa.
A group of protesters from the AFL-CIO ransacked the Bush-Cheney headquarters in Orlando on Tuesday. They trashed the office and drew horns and mustaches on posters of Bush. It's good to... It's ambushed. So what do you guys think about that? Don't you feel that the left has been a little more virulent in their,
What makes you say that? Because they, when they had the Republican convention, they were punching people in the face. Now they're destroying property because they disagree with policy.
Right, I'm saying, don't you feel like this time it feels like now it's the left is getting a little more violent?
They're idiots and
What did they
morons.
destroy? They drew devil's ears? Like,
No, they
Well,
trashed the
just
whole
busting
office.
somebody's whole place up. I mean, they
Actually, it
burn
was
it.
union guys who did it. They only trashed half the office.
Yeah, they didn't burn it down. They should burn it down.
The left is more angry now, obviously,
Right,
because
right.
the extreme. I mean, the left has a lot to be angry about. The conservatives, the Republicans are in power, and they're not angry. They're busy. They're working. They're counting their money. They're keeping the black man down. They don't have time to march around and protest and wear papier-mâché penis hats and dance around during.
I just think they should be more American. They simply have to trust our system. What you do is you show up, you vote, they count the votes, whoever gets the most votes wins. That's the way it works. It's the way it's always worked. If they just trusted our system and trusted that there was a laugh at the end of this routine, that would be something.
Well, I think I speak for all of us when we say we were waiting for the little indication that you weren't serious.
I thought it was beautiful.
It was funny, but it was too ironic.
It was
like,
lovely.
we had to read into your mind that you just, we waited for the wins. Whoever gets,
I
we
forgot
thought
that-
you'd say whoever gets the least votes wins or something. Then we would have all
I
had a
didn't see
nice
any
laugh
irony in that at all.
and nudged each other.
Whoever gets
You
the
know,
most...
but I'm just saying, if you want to laugh at the end,
Maybe I should do like an indicator with my face. Oh, and whoever gets the most votes wins.
no. Well, if you say something deliberately, literally, with no indication, then how's even a great mind like me in comedy supposed to indicate? Because if I laughed, you might have gone, I'm not joking, man. I'm serious. I'm like, oh, I know.
And that's what the Democrats need, an indication face.
An indication face? You mean like a mug? Like you think Kerry this week, if Bush says something, you should be like, yeah, great.
Yeah, like, don't you get it?
Yeah, like, when
Well,
Bush-
it's hard
Sure.
to do that when your face is full of Botox.
That's a true point.
Yeah, another
All right.
great true point that isn't funny.
It was funny.
What do you mean?
Honestly, I think that people are loving you. It's just, you're an acclimating person. It takes a minute.
You're
You know
right.
what? I
thanks.
think we should talk about the Electoral College.
Okay, why? To make everyone turn on something else? I think we should talk about the new Japanese product.
Yeah.
This pillow.
Jesus.
This wonderful pillow. It's called the boyfriend's arm pillow. It's not what you think it's for. It's actually for, you stuff it around yourself if you're lonely when you're sleeping.
That's...
It's not good.
That's good if you want to spoon with a former hostage from Hamas.
Well, they make them for women too. They have, I mean, for guys, they make them, for guys they have the women's version. They have the skinny one for like a model, and they have a big fat one for when you're drunk. Plus, it's ironic because that looks like the hamburger helper hand,
Yeah.
right there. And if well, but I'm saying the irony in it is that if that woman actually cooked, she might not be sleeping alone.
I don't care.
Oh, that was sexist.
Don't worry, folks. I'm going to take care of you. I don't care how old you are. I don't consider you a person, a human, a guy, if you don't try this one at least once. I know it's immature. I don't care if it's for 8-year-olds. It's still funny all these years later. You have 5 fingers, you put one
Are
up
you
like
doing
the
that
finger.
ironically?
No.
Yeah,
But unless you want to take it that way. What?
at least that thing can't call her an idiot for sleeping with that thing. Like, that's an idiot. That's an idiot. It's nothing but a pillow. It's not a... There's
How
nothing.
dare you
You know, they've
degrade
also-
our fine
They've
pillow
also-
industry.
They've also got one for women who've been abused with their hands in a fist.
Is that a convict?
And that's also for 8-year-olds that I find funny. I don't care.
How about a transsexual one with breasts and balls?
Hey!
Hey!
You've gone crazy.
Now,
You're
where
the
you gonna-
most civilized looking one on the
Where
show,
you
and
gonna
you're the craziest. We'll be right back. Oh, we had the whole setup where he's going to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and dummy, I thought I was going to wait for the music, but then I made a late shot. It looked horrible. Hey, you know what? That's the beauty of the show, the spontaneity. Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger vetoed a bill that would have allowed up to 2 million illegal immigrants the right to apply for a driver's license in California. You can't help it. Hispanic activists have vowed to protest Schwarzenegger by burning a massive collection of his DVDs.
First of all, to get DVDs from Blockbuster, you need a license. So that's not right.
He's always
That
there.
actually is one of the biggest problems with the license issue. Is not just that they can't drive cars, but you need a license for all sorts of ID. And, you know, like illegal aliens, for them, if anyone needs ID when it comes time to, like, buy beer and stuff, these dudes are all, like, 3 feet tall. They all look like they're 12, you know? They try to buy a six-pack of Corona. It's not fair.
You're trying to tell me I'm under
Can
21? Let's ask the guy who looks
I'm
like a Mexican bandito from the 1880s. Hey, what do you think about
I
this?
say minibuses. Screw the license. 2 million people, that'd be great. Then Schwarzenegger wouldn't be able to get to the airport as fast. That's why he's doing it, so he can get to his beach. If he has 2 million more drivers, he can't get to his beach house as fast.
What do you mean, drivers?
Don't you get this, what I'm saying? No,
I'm totally on everyone's side. If I have a
Oh, they
problem with
drive
it, it's
anyway.
probably a problem.
I'm out of it.
I think you're missing the big issue. It's all about the fact that they're trying to keep Mexicans out of America. This country's going downhill. We have no chance. We've gone over the edge and we're going into the toilet. So here's what we do. We pull back, let them across the border, then we do an end run into Mexico, we steal it from them, put up a big wall, we become the United States of Mexico, we don't let them back in, and then they gotta fight the damn Iraqis.
Only one problem with it.
Doesn't it scare you that he was actually an honorably discharged veteran of the American? That's a good strategy.
It's a great strategy because they would fight the Iraqis, but then we'd have to mow our own lawns. That would suck. I'm saying it would be a drawback. I don't know why anyone would groan
Hey,
that.
what about a few floating whorehouses, like in Taiwan,
Well,
or the Mekong
Porky's.
Delta? Huh?
Porky's too, that a floating whorehouse in Porky's, remember?
Porky's?
It was a floating whorehouse in Porky's. It was a whole plot.
I remember Apocalypse Now. I remember.
I remember that too, but what about Porky's?
Porky's. Porky's, yes.
It was a floating whorehouse. In fact, it was called Porky's because some fat guy ran it, and they blew it up at the end. You know what? I'm sick and tired of this.
I know.
A gun shop in Minnesota. This is kind of interesting. A gun shop in Minnesota is selling a gun that would fit in your wallet. It's made from a piece of metal the size of a credit card. The 2-barrel weapon can fire 7 steel BBs. Here's what it looks like. I wish you could give me a copy of it. That would be cool. Look, right there. Now, I don't care if anyone's pro-gun or anti-gun. That would be cool. And if you could get one, you'd have it right now. And I know I would too. I'd be like, what's up, Bob? And people would just walk up to somebody on the street and be like...
And then you gotta put your own gunpowder in it, it says, and it shoots BBs. And the guy says it's for self-defense. What am I, being attacked by a squirrel in the Civil War? What the hell's this gonna...
That's a good point.
It's all I need is my wife grabbing that instead of the credit card. You know, the next day the headlines read 50,000 wounded, Bed Bath & Beyond. Hey.
Everything's about miniaturization. What's
Floating
next?
in.
They're going to have a thimble that's like a grenade, and then they're going to have a joke that actually works. No. But they're never going to be able to miniaturize a flaming bag of dog poo.
Good point.
Flaming bags of dog poo.
They got a transmitter. What?
But you really think, I mean, all joking aside, gang,
Yeah, good.
you really think that that's
Thanks
a good
for
idea?
considering what I
You
did
really
a
think
joke.
that's a good idea, that people should walk around with a credit card that could explode in their pocket full of BBs shooting each other in the face?
I'm not talking about people, but yeah, I like the idea of more weaponry.
It's like
Yeah, I feel like this about this country. No more. We're not getting rid of guns. People love violence. Give everybody a gun like the Old West. So that way you all
A
know.
gun, a
It's
real
called
gun,
the
not-
Great Equalizer only if everybody has one, or else it's not an equalizer.
Yeah, but BBs, what's that gonna? You come up against the Crips? What, are you gonna sting them in the knee? What are you gonna do? I mean,
Let me tell you something. If you've ever been hit by one of those, they smart.
I have. I have my.
They smart.
I'm
I had my
sure you
brother
have.
Shoot me.
Yeah, I don't see how that's going to stop a psychotic rapist. I mean, if you BBs and I'm a psychotic rapist, I don't think I'm going to, a BB, I guess I'll walk away, you know.
It's going to be a lot more
BB.
difficult for them to refuse your credit when you go in someplace. Excuse me, you don't have enough. Oh, really?
Yeah. They're trying to cut up your card. You blast them, man. Excuse my language.
Wow.
Sounds like a lot of fun, a BB gun, a real BB card. Yeah, that sounds good. I take that to Iraq. I take over
That's
Iraq
right.
for that one.
You mess with me, I'll put your eye out.
Yeah. Well, all jokes aside, an eye out would be very painful. I carry a piece of paper in my pocket.
Credit card that
Nice
shoots bullets.
paper
What kind
cuts.
of P. Diddy wet dream are we living in?
Well, I think we all agree, which is that we don't know anything about that.
We should talk about the Electoral College.
No. We'll be right back. Folks, we all have our problems. So tonight, we're going to try and help a little. We've picked 4 of our audience members who are feeling down for some reason. They got the doldrums, man. And our comedians will try to cheer them up with a personalized greeting card. Our first person is Nicole. Nicole. No, Nicole, what's bothering you?
Well, I just found out my pet cockatiel has cancer and only has 6 months to live.
Oh, well, Nick, we'll cheer her up. Nick DiPaolo has a
Oh,
special...
don't worry about it, honey.
Special message for you.
Cheer up. Petco's having a 50% off sale on bird wigs.
Very moving, thank you. All right, hello, Gabe. Next up is Gabe. Tell us what's bringing you down.
Well, I was on my way home after having a root canal, and I was stopped by the cops for speeding.
Well, here's Ross Bennett with his own special message. Ross?
I know, I just had some dental work myself. Going to court can really suck. It doesn't get better when you speed past a truck. So when you show up in court, don't pass the buck. Just look at the judge and tell him you're
All right! He got it right.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Oh, comforting. It was comforting, except the character work that I've never seen Ross do. It was a little frightening. Okay, Mike, what's going on with you?
My left testicle is about the size of a tennis ball, and I feel like I might have the cancer.
That's prostatitis. I had that once. All right, Rick Shapiro has a little something for you.
Yeah, it's okay.
It may be a reach around.
Right? Don't worry about that. I can do it from here.
All right.
Listen. Be happy as a coked-up teddy bear who tore the heart out of a child. A cancerous nut is just God's way of telling you that you never had balls in the first place.
Doesn't that feel better? Okay, finally, here's Ramona. Ramona, what's going on?
Well, me and my ex-fiance broke up, and now I have to move back in with my parents.
I'm gonna bite you. What? Okay. I'm sorry to hear that, but here's Greg Giraldo with a little cheer.
Okay. Things might seem bad, but don't be sad. Now you can bone your dad. It's better.
Whoa, what a touching display of
You don't have
humanity.
to be upset.
Oh.
Don't be upset.
Oh, well, we'll be right back. Oh, solo mio. You should like that, you wop. That's Italian opera. All right. Folks, a man staged a fake home invasion robbery where 2 guys in ski masks broke into his house and bound and gagged his wife so he could impress her by chasing them off. If you could come up with an elaborate scheme to impress your significant other, what is it, the 80s? Significant other? What would it be? Nick DiPaolo?
I'd do the same thing this guy did, only instead of fighting them off, I'd be the one who got tied up, and I'd allow them to actually have their way with my wife as I looked on helplessly. What, I shouldn't get something out of this too? No. As long as the sex is good and one of these guys resembled Tony Danza, should be impressed with me, believe me.
She likes Tony Danza types?
Yes.
How'd you guys end up together? Ross Bennett.
I would hire Colin and Nick and Greg and Rick to sit with me and pretend I was on Tough Crowd. The camera would be feeding the images via closed circuit directly into our living room TV. I would look over to Nick and say, "Hey, you big greasy dago, why don't you take your head out of Colin's ass long enough to write a couple of new jokes?" Then I would give you the thumbs up, which is our special signal that tonight you get to wear the strap on and teach me how to behave on TV.
Rick Shapiro.
I hire a bunch of model actor pukes to hit on my girl at a bar. I show up and say, "Hey, you look like those guys on those Apprentice, Fear Factor, 6 Feet Under, Queer Eye shows." And they say, "Oh, my favorites, me too, yo, holla." I raise my fist and they run and I say, "What's happened to men?" And she says, "Yeah, I'm so lucky."
Greg Giraldo.
First of all, who's looking to impress their spouse? I mean, what's I'm married. Show's over. Let's face it. But I guess if I really wanted to impress her, I wouldn't pull any kind of scam. I'd get a vasectomy. Because getting your balls snipped like a dog at the pound, it really tells your wife, honey, no matter how successful I get, I don't plan on impregnating my new hot young trophy wife.
All right. Women love honesty. That's the show. Good night.
Time for a couple quick questions.
Well, why the heck not?
Okay. You said during the commercial that the show is kind of creepy, made you feel kind of creepy. What did you mean by that?
You gonna start quoting me during the commercials now when I say off the record? I just meant there's a creepy vibe with us four. Creeps. I shouldn't expect anything less.
Who is the creepiest?
Well, today was Ross, because he's like the one that's the most dressed up that you kind of look to subconsciously, if I can speak for the audience and myself. And you kind of say, okay, this is kind of the one